Jestress promises to do anything to erase some nightmare, and boy does she follow through. This is her life's work. Who is she after? How does she get at them? And why? I speculated on this before, but I have some new ideas here. The person she's chasing at the end of the story is a Gauntlet Knight. She says she has had this person as her target for her entire life. Her body is probably around the same age as most Gauntlet Knights, some sort of teenager. That means her vendetta against this person began when they were an infant, or even earlier. How could a baby have become her nemesis? Certainly her target's significance is not purely their own doing. For example, you could reasonably think that Meow has been Tojiro's weapon from even before the time of his birth. That's not due to Meow's own actions in any way, but nonetheless, if you were aware of Tojiro's intentions, then you could oppose Meow from the moment of his birth or earlier. Another way to have such an old vendetta like this is if her target's body is being occupied by an older mind, which has a longer history during which it's earned her malice. I believe Jestress is like this herself, although I believe she's effectively in a younger clone of her own original body. The other old person and young body arrangement we find is in the 9th Prime Chivalric Order. Could it be a 9th Prime she's targeting? This can relate to some more questions around her mission. Why did she have to wait until this moment to strike? What did her plans have to do with the Three Kings? Here's one way to try and synthesize all this information. Actually, first, one more question. Why is her target running away? This Gauntlet Knight seems to have no confidence in a one-on-one fight. Where's their Keta anyway? And ultimately, what's the point of running? I'll get back to that last question, but first a name. The Gauntlet Knight that Jestress is chasing is Stan. In general, the 9th Prime's plan was to manipulate the battlefield so that their own agents all come out as heroic and victorious, and then use that power and popularity to take control of the 4 non-Leto factions. But one big difficulty they would have, with the ABN in particular, is Yeladot Shavit. This Keta is fiercely obedient to their government, even despite their own better judgment. If an ABN 9th Prime needs to act in a way to benefit the 9th Prime on the battlefield, but not necessarily the ABN, then Yeladot Shavit might take them out. However, the Comet Girl's attack is one-time use. It seems like they die in the process. But I don't think the 9th Prime are very numerous. I think it's very costly for them to lose a member. So, I think the way around this is to put up a scapegoat. In this case, it's Naima. She's easy for Stan to manipulate by controlling how she's drugged. This way she can be made to attract the ire of ABN leadership and get killed by Yeladot Shavit. But then the one-time attack has been used up, and Stan is much more free to act. However, the downside is that Naima is the main fighting force of Stan's Keta, Thalatat-Suyuf. Without Naima, he might be vulnerable in combat. This is exactly the moment that Jestress was waiting for. She needed the 9th Prime's plans to progress to this point for her opening to appear, and we see her trying to take full advantage. Stan isn't confident in defending himself directly, so he runs. His normal defense, Naima, has been killed off. But he can't run forever, so what's he doing? Better than running is hiding, and one great place to hide is the future. I believe Stan may be hastily making use of a secret piece of ABN tech to try and save himself, a Millennium Chamber that immediately sends him 1,000 years into the future. Surely then he'll be safe. As a side note, hasty use of secret technology is exactly what Prometheus wanted out of this conflict. Perhaps, as a result of Stan's rushed actions, he revealed the existence and location of this tech. We later see Seshat seemingly visiting the Millennium Chamber, representative of the idea that this secret tech has been found out. She says she's calling those two back here, and while that could mean a lot of different things, maybe it means the twin personas of Vir and Jestress. These could be significant to her in the form of Tojiro's ex-wife that she has shown all this concern over. While I'm on the topic, so maybe the ABN has this time travel tech, the COU has the Super Golden Gauntlet, and the AOU has all sorts of stuff going on in Gilroy Level 4 Heavy Military Research Center. How about the ACR? As a fairly random guess, I'd say they might secretly have teleportation technology. That's mentioned as one thing being worked on in Vir's lab. It could also help explain how a bunch of ACR torpedoes ended up on the deck of an AOU ship. Of course, the normal story of Ritabil flying up to the ship and pulling the torpedoes out of a dimension container is perfectly reasonable too. But it's weirdly told entirely in flashback, which makes me think something fishy happened there. I think it's good to have an alternate explanation in my back pocket, so that encourages me to guess that the ACR secretly has teleportation technology. The final question, which we mustn't neglect, is why? Why would Jestress want to kill Stan? And there, I'm not too sure. As I've explained, Jestress seems to be operating a lifelong murder program. Quite possibly, she was activated at birth by Vir, just so Vir could shake this generational compulsion off of herself. So, maybe Stan was chosen as the target by Vir. A Pole and a German, mortal nemeses? Sure, why not? Furthermore, Stan is a medical doctor, and a lot of Vir's achievements seem to relate to the powers of a human body, so maybe they had some rivalry in a prior age. Of course, all those ideas are built on top of other ideas. Theories about the nature of the 9th Prime Chivalric Order. Theories on what controls Jestress' motivations. Theories on the goals of the Order of Prometheus. By building on top of these uncertain foundations, I risk falling from an even greater height. But this seems like a necessary risk to even try to address the murkiest mysteries of Ciconia.